Okay, so what is guilt? Guilt is the certain kind of anger, the suppressed frustration, and the suppressed criticism which we have for our own selves for doing certain thing or for not doing certain thing. Sometimes we just don't have the strength to do certain thing, okay? And we really want to do that task, but we just don't have the strength to do that. So we are angry inside our own selves for our own self, and we just don't address it superficially, okay? So that is guilt. And sometimes we just don't want to do something. And we do that because we just don't have the strength to say no. And that is also guilt. So this is guilt. Are you understanding? That suppressed anger, that suppressed feeling of frustration, that suppressed feeling of resentment, of not feeling good. That is called guilt. And most of the time, this guilt is hidden. Okay? This is very underlying because we are in a habit of guilt. We are living in habitual guilt. And this is very important to understand that we have a habit of being guilty because our belief system has been like this. So I'll give you an example. Supposingly we are on a diet. Okay, you are on a diet and you just see a good pastry and you just want to eat it. And your something inside you is just saying, no, don't eat it, don't eat it. But then something inside you is more powerful and you just, eats it. And that's when all the time you feel guilty. There's this voice inside your head which keeps on poking inside you that, kyun khaya? Why did you eat it? Why did you eat it? That is called guilt. And sometimes what happens is somebody said something to you and you just wanted to reply back to that person, but you never had that strength to say no to that person or to stand up for yourself or to say that, the situation is different or whatever. And then that person has gone away, that situation has gone away, but something inside you is just poking inside you. Why did you stood up for yourself? Why did you say that? That is also guilt. That continuous voice which is poking inside your head that, ye kyun nahi kiya, wo kyun nahi kiya. That is called guilt. That suppressed, a very thin layer of that voice, continuously it forms and becomes anger and frustration. And we have no idea why we are angry, why we are sad or frustrated. That is guilt. And most of the times we have no idea about that. Okay. So that is what we have become habitual. This is a habitual guilt. Okay. Okay. So now the question is that why am I not able to say no to certain people, to certain situations, or to stand up to my own self and say no to my own self? Why? This is because I don't have that strength. Most of the time, we just don't have that strength. I know superficially, we all think that we have all the strength to say no, we can do anything, but subconsciously, we have no strength to stand up for myself, to stand up to somebody else, and that is what makes us angry with my own self, and that is what is called guilt. So, now what do I do with this energy of guilt? I use this energy of guilt to control others. And how am I doing it? So, if I'm angry about something, I'm angry about anything which I don't have the strength to do that thing. And if I see somebody else doing that thing, and I don't have that energy or the strength to do that thing, I'll be triggered that how can this person do that thing? And I'll make sure that by any hook and crook, very subtly on a subconscious level, I'll make that person feel guilty about doing that thing because I don't have the strength to do that. For example, if my subconscious belief is that the girls who wear short clothes or short dresses, they're bad girls, they're not good girls, and I don't have the strength to stand up against the society and wear a small dress or a short dress and go out, and I feel guilty about it. And remember, this is all subconscious. I have not be I'm not even aware that I'm guilty of this. Okay. And when next time when I see a girl wearing a small dress, a short dress, and going out, my programming would be that she is a bitch, she's a slut. I'm just giving you an example. And by my subtle looks, by staring at her like this, and by subtly gossiping with my friends about her, or giving her small smile, that those nasty looks and smiles, I'll make sure that she feels guilty. Okay, so this is how we control others by the guilt which we have. So now this is all going on a very subconscious level. We might not be even aware of the guilt, of our own guilt, which we are using to control others. And I'll give you one more example, that if a wife, she has been conditioned that, a girl who leaves her family and goes out for party or just chilling with her friends, and she's not a good girl. It's not good for a wife to, or a mother to go out with her friends and to neglect her family. And she goes out to have fun with her friends. And every time, all the time, some voice inside her head is just telling her, poking inside her head and telling her that, you're not a good girl. You should go back. What would your kids think? What would they be doing without you? What would your husband think? And, all those nonsense voices. And she comes back by 8 p.m. because she thinks that she's a good girl. And now, the next time when her husband goes and he's enjoying with his own friends, she will make sure that she will trigger him and tell him that you better come back home by 8 p.m. because I came back home at 8 p.m. So you should also not enjoy with your friends. So, you understand that this is how what we cannot do. We make sure that the other person is also not doing. We make sure that we give all the reasons, the nonsense reasons, and this is all subconscious. So this is how we control others, by our own guilt. So it's very important to understand what guilt is. Now the interesting thing is that all the girls, every girl is born with this energy of guilt in her womb. Okay, the mother passes down the energy of guilt to her daughter, and then her daughter passes down this energy of guilt to her daughter, and this goes on. So every girl is carrying the energy of guilt of not only her own guilt, of not only of her mother's guilt, but the guilts of all the ancestors. So it's very important to clear this energy of guilt. And what is this energy of guilt? Fears, the anger, the frustration of the mother is carried on to the daughter, and then the fears, the anger, the frustration of this daughter along with her mother is carried to the daughter, and then this goes on. So it's very important to clear this energy of guilt. Right? And this is all on a very subconscious level, okay? But the best thing is that with every generation, the girls are becoming aware now, and they are trying everything to clear these blockages of guilt. And when one person or one female stands up to clear this thing, and the whole generation gets cleared. Okay, every female, their mothers are their biggest triggers. Okay, because they're carrying their guilt, their fears, their anger, their frustration in their womb, and because of this anger, this guilt, they are not being able to be what they really are, because this guilt is stopping them, and that is why the mothers are the biggest triggers of their daughters. Okay, the question which you can see generally people saying when they are trying to control others because of their own guilt are that you have no idea how much have I sacrificed for you. Maybe when I'll die, you will see how much have I done for you, and then you will feel sorry. How can you abandon me like this? Can you think about somebody else for a change instead of thinking about you? It seems that you think about everybody else, but you don't think about me. How could you do this to me after all that I've done for you? So in these questions and maybe some other type of questions, I'm just giving you an example. Can you see that that person is telling you, how can you ignore me? How can you just think about you? So sometimes, we don't have the energy or the strength to stand up for our own selves and to think about ourselves. And when we see somebody else thinking about their own selves and taking a stand for their own self, then what we do, we make sure that we make that person feel very guilty about taking a stand for themselves. One more very important factor to look at is the game of being a victim. Most of the time when we are guilty, we are playing this game of being a victim. And most of the time, this game is played especially by females, not by males so much. But yes, males also do play this game. But females do play this game on a very, very, very significant level. So what is this game of being a victim? When I'm guilty about something, that means I'm angry with myself, I'm fearful, and I am criticizing myself subconsciously for not having the strength to do that task or to say no. Okay, so when I'm having all these negative energies inside me, I'm blaming myself. I'm really angry with myself. And then two things will happen. Either I'll become a rebel. I'll be very angry with the society. I'll be projecting my anger on everybody else. I'll be blaming everybody else. Or I'll become very weak, I'll become a victim. And I'll say that because of them, I've done this. Because of them, I've done this. Both the things are victim consciousness. When you are a victim, either you blame somebody, ki, he has done this to me and that is why I'm going to show this to him, or he has done this to me and that is why it's okay, I cannot do this because that person has done this to me. So either we get into very contracted state and we become very very fearful, or we become very revolting. So both these energies are wrong. These are both playing guilt. So now what causes all these problems? Why don't I have that strength to simply say no to somebody or to simply do that certain thing? Why do I have to, not do that thing and feel guilty? What is the reason? The reason is that we have been conditioned by our family, by our environment, by our sisters, by our chachas, uncles, and all the neighborhoods, by the ancestrals in our families, that these are the certain rules. You have to follow these rules and you cannot break these rules. And this is how the things can be done, and this is how things should not be done. So subconsciously we have been trained to do this thing, and this is the right thing and you should do this, and this is the wrong thing and you should not do this. Okay, so that is what our beliefs are being created from our childhood. So one more interesting factor is, for females or girls, somebody or the other will criticize them for being what they are, and they will make sure that they will think that they are not good enough how they are. For example, if a girl is in sports and she's very tomboy kind, somebody will say that, why are you so tomboy kind? Why can't you just be like a little girly? Then you'll have more prospects of finding a boyfriend or a husband. If she's a dark skinned woman, somebody will say that, कैसे से हो आप, इतने काले हो, थोड़ा अपने कलर के लिए कुछ करो, दूध मलाई लगाया करो, थोड़े से आप गोरे हो जाएंगे. So you will find a better boyfriend or a husband. And if she's a quiet girl, she's not talkative, somebody will say, have some guts, speak up for yourself. And if a female is speaking up for herself, somebody or the other will say that, itna mat bola karo, thoda chup rehna seekh lo. So there's always a problem with the female. Somebody or the other will come and poke finger on the girl. So, from childhood only, the girl has heard so many criticism about her own self that she loses her own confidence, and she just understands that I'm just not good enough. I have some problem with my own self. So now she doesn't know, because a child, she will only have the ideas which the society is telling her. She doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. So when our mothers tell us, don't do this or do that, or the society teaches us to do this and to not to do this. So now subconsciously we have those beliefs, and then the next time when we see our daughters doing the same things, we will also poke the fingers. So this is a subconscious game which we are not even aware of. So the basic thing to do is to understand that what our beliefs are, what our values are, what is triggering me the most and what is not triggering me the most. So when I don't have the strength to break these rules made by the society, I don't have the strength to stand up for myself, I will make sure that I'll manipulate the other woman also to make her feel guilty, so that she doesn't stand up for herself. Because if she is standing up for her own self, that is going to create the trigger inside me. The voice inside my head will be more stronger that, she's standing up for herself. Why can't you stand up for yourself? So when I don't want to look inside, I will make sure that I shut her up. So that is why women precisely use this guilt to control other women. If I'm not feeling good about myself, I will make sure that I manipulate the shit out of everybody else, that I manipulate that other woman also, that she doesn't feel good about herself. So it is very much important today to see what we are guilty of. And this guilt, as I told you, is on a very subconscious level. So maybe for this week, you can do these certain things, and you can actually make sure that you do the work and you understand that where are you guilty about. Okay, so one is that you can see where you are being victim, where you are playing being a victim unconsciously, because subconsciously we are all playing victim in certain areas. So you can make a list of the things which you are feeling a victim of, and then you can also ask yourself this question, that what am I angry about with my own self? Maybe you can take a paper and start writing that I am angry with myself, and keep writing for 2-3 pages. You will get answers. So you will understand that what am I angry about with my own self. Then you can ask that what am I scared of? What are the fears? So that you can understand what your fears are. Then you can also ask that what am I blaming others for? Because the things which you're blaming others for, most importantly, most likely, the things are that you don't have the strength to do those things. So that is why you blame others. Most important thing is that we have to understand that we have to look at the areas where we have become very habitual of being guilty, because this guilt has become our safe spot. Okay, because I don't have the strength, I feel guilty, and I don't have to do anything. I don't have to have the strength to stand up for somebody else or to stand up for my own self. You know, all these things that will require a lot of strength. So I don't want to have the strength. I can just feel guilty, and I can just be frustrated and angry, and I can make sure I also control others by this my guilt. And this is all being done on a very subconscious level. Most of the time we are not aware of these things, you know. So you have to be very sure and understand that where am I guilty of, what are the habits of habitual guilt, why am I angry with myself, what am I scared of, what are my fears, what am I criticizing others, what am I blaming others. Okay, so maybe for this week you can find out what your guilts are, and you can start doing EFT, emotional freedom techniques, to clear these guilt, and you can do ho'oponopono to your guilt. And one more thing is that I'm gonna attach a link of a meditation for guilt under this video, and you can do this meditation for this week, so that it's gonna clear all the ancestral guilt and your own guilt. Thank you so much.